Hey guys, what is up? Hope everybody has been having a wonderful holiday season so far. It has definitely been a fun off season for me. I've been keeping busy playing a lot of golf, keeping my body in good shape, and getting ready for next year. And I figured it was definitely time to release a kind of a voiceover synopsis of the sets from the World Long Drive Championship, because I do consider this to be definitely the toughest world championship I've won of my three so far. And also, I'm going to be getting a brand new mic, so if the audio quality is not perfect, I apologize. I am upgrading that in very short order. I've signed on with a new post-production editing team, so I'm very excited about kind of having the post-production stuff out of my hands, and definitely looking forward to being able to put out more great content for you guys. But that being said, let's get into it. So I'm not sure if you guys watched the telecast, but even if you guys have, I figured it'd be a good thing to give you guys my thoughts and kind of what I was thinking going into the final three sets, because what a lot of people don't realize, we had to get through 6 days to get to this point, and I can promise you it was not easy. So it might be a good way to give you guys some insight into the background, context, and things like that. If you guys enjoyed this video, please be sure to like the video. It really does help push this video out to more people, and subscribe to the channel. Definitely looking forward to making next year a big year for my YouTube channel and for the content creation side. So let's hop into it. And yeah, when I saw the draw that I was going to have in the quarterfinals against Justin James, I was just like, you got to be kidding me. But Justin James has absolutely been one of the best in the world as long as I've been in the sport, all the way since 2016, 2017. And you guys know me. I like the hammer position, and so he's going to be going first. Today, the wind was off the left down, and so if you hit a draw, the wind would fight it back to the center of the grid. And the danger of hitting a draw, which is the shape Justin and I both play, is the wind is a lot stronger, because the arena and those trees you guys can see can form a bit of a void with the wind. And so you might not feel the wind down here where we are, but it's definitely blowing left to right and down. And if you start a draw on the right center of the grid, the intention of turning it back towards the middle, what might actually happen is it starts right, but the wind pushes it further right, even if it's got draw spin on it. And you guys will see here in a little bit, that almost cost me my tournament. But Justin got off to a good start here. Didn't capture his numbers there, but I would guess about 220 ball speed, a really solid number right off the rip. And that's what makes Justin so good. He just never hands you the matches. I mean, Justin and I have probably had at least 10 or 12 matches in the final 8 together, many of them televised. So we were no stranger to each other. We know how each other likes to work. Justin's just very methodical. He's going to get a ball and play early, and he's going to build. He and I both had pretty solid tournaments. I started off a little shaky with a couple OB sets early in the first couple days, but I pretty much had the greatest 4 sets of my career in the round of 16 yesterday. Yesterday, according to the day we were hitting, the day before. I went OB my first set, and the round of 16 was an absolute just gauntlet. And then the last 4 sets, unfortunately, some of the flight scope numbers didn't capture, but I had to have been sitting in the low 230s the last 4 sets, and won each of my last 4 sets by at least 15 yards, I think, something like that. So I felt really good going into today. Felt like it was certainly my tournament to win, and so that's kind of how I was approaching it. I was just put a ball in play, make good swings, and just go from there. But the tough thing about this is it does not matter how many times you've been in this situation. It truly is whiplash. I mean, you're going from round robin sets where you have 5 sets and you got plenty of rounds. You can go OB and still be in it too. You're instantly in a position where it's an elimination set. And that can be very tough when you've spent most of the tournament kind of cruising. I actually think on day one, I got a lot closer to getting knocked down day one than I obviously wanted. And that helped me, because I actually got to feel a little bit of that pressure on day one. And I think that kind of upregulated my stress reaction, so that I was kind of ready for this moment here. And it happens fast, guys. I mean, we only get 6 balls now, and it's definitely a tough situation. So definitely a rough first 3 balls here. I think the second one was actually a little bit closer up the right side, but I keep getting a little bit under the ball, and I'm just flipping the hands. You guys can see here how flippy I'm getting about probably halfway through that downswing. And again, it's just nerves. It really is. I mean, I felt a ton of pressure going into this week. Coming into this week, I had just broken the ball speed record and hit the longest drive ever recorded on a golf course. So my odds, my betting odds were quite generous. So I was definitely thinking about that, and I knew that people were expecting me to win, and so it can be tough because all of a sudden you're down to an elimination set, and you just got to step up and hit a ball. So 393 by no means scared me for a number, and I know, and Justin knows this as well. He knows he needs more. If I get a ball in play that's good, it's probably going to be past 393. But, he's just pushing out just a little bit to the right. And the way Justin works, he likes to hit a bit of a push draw, and it's just a tough shot to hit because with this wind off the left, it can fight that draw. And I was in the same boat. We have the same shot shape. But, you can see me just kind of getting ready for my last 3 balls. I'm not really paying a ton of attention to what's going on with my opponents because, obviously what they're going to do, I can't do anything about it. And I truly did feel like if I hit my best ball, obviously there's a luck component, but I'd be probably in pretty good shape. And Justin hit a really good ball here, and I just don't understand why we didn't flatten this grid out more, because if you guys watch really closely, you can literally see this ball roll sideways out of the grid. Now, it was mid-380s, so it didn't matter too much, but if you guys look up in the middle of the screen, you'll see a huge hill. If you guys want to rewind that 10 seconds, you'll see a massive hill in the middle of the grid. And hopefully next year we're going to be able to remove that hill, because I just think if you have a world championship with everything at stake, you certainly need to make sure that the grid is as flat as possible. But regardless, it was still a great venue. Love being in Atlanta, competing for the world championship. Nice to be in a big market city. But again, just you can really see it written all over my face. It's panic. And I'm telling you guys, that's just part of the sport. If you don't feel panic, you're not, it's just part of the game. This happens so fast, and there's so much stakes around everything that things happen quickly. And I almost get a little nervous if I've gone through a whole tournament without panicking, because I'm like, something's going to happen somewhere, and I want to be ready for it. And this is what I'm talking about here. I put it up the right side, and I'm thinking this is in 227 ball speed, and this all day is good. This would have won, but you guys can see that wind ripping. And so what's happening is the ball's trying to draw, but the wind's pushing it out. And I just couldn't adjust. And, I really thought that was in play. But as you guys saw, there was about 3 yards OB at about 412, 415. So I really just walked in knowing that all I want to do is just hit it well and see what happens. And when I hit this, I knew I hit a great drive. I knew it was long enough. But again, you guys see that it's that right corner. And I see them running back, and just so you guys know, we didn't have a live feed shot of what you guys are seeing now back in the grid. So all I see is guys running back, and I was excited. But if you look how close that ball is to the edge. I mean, that's insane. But so I was excited to see it was long, but I got nervous because when they're running, the ball's rolling, and it can always roll out. But fortunately, it stayed in. Really needed that. And I kudos to Justin for being a class act, great hitter. You can see pretty excited. Definitely one of the best shots I've hit in my career, given the circumstances, and just kind of held off on it just a little bit more there, and was able to make the swing I needed to make. And I knew once I hit it, it was way over 400. Just needed it to stay in that corner, and it did. And that was really the one thing I knew going into this tournament. I was just like, I just need one good break late in this tournament, and it's mine. That's truly what I felt like. And so I knew there's still a long road to go. I had to go through a lot more. I still had to go through 2 more really good hitters, but I felt like that was the break I needed. And so now we're moving on to the semifinal match against the current world number 2, Zack Holton. And, if you're world number 2, that's about all you need to say about how good you are. And so you can see they got the graphic up there. Definitely want to put my name back up on that graphic. 3-time world champ would be, in my mind, that was like, oh, that's going to be pretty cool, because only 2 other people have done that, Sean Pfister and Jason Zubak. So be some quite rarefied air. You guys can see another shot of the grid here. This is at Bobby Jones Golf Course. So nice little spot right outside of Atlanta. So Zack Holton had probably one of the greatest sets of all time in the Denver event in the LaSalle. Colorado. Had, I think, 5 out of 6 balls over 460 to win, which is just wild. So going into this set, I knew Zack was going to be – the thing with Zack, he's just so tough. I mean, he's not going to necessarily put up 230 ball speed, but what he will do is he's going to put up something between 218 to 222 in the grid with great ball flight, and that is terrifying, knowing that who you're facing is going to put that number up every single time. And I compare him a lot to, he's got a ton of speed, but like what he's so good at, and don't let the lower body movement when you see him hit throw you off. This is probably one of the most accurate hitters in the planet. It's the ball in the center of the face pretty much more than anybody, and that's why he's so good. He just has unbelievable control of his ball flight, and he can dial it up to the low 220s, and I've even seen him at 225, and that's dangerous. So, you know what you're going to get with Zack. You're going to get something in the 218 to 222 ball speed range with good flight in the grid, and that's always going to be a tough ball to beat. So that's what I was expecting from him, nothing more, nothing less. And so I knew I was going to have to hit a good ball. So I think he gets this ball in play right off the rip. I'm not sure, but looks like he felt like he hit it pretty good. But, just a little bit OB right, I think. But you guys can see the lower body movement here. Definitely, some of you guys who followed me for a long time, that will definitely look familiar compared to what I did in 2019. But he's definitely taking it to a whole new level, and it works for him. I mean, this guy hits it so straight. It's amazing. So on to his second ball. 217.6, 1742 spin right at the left center. That's him. I mean, that's what he's going to do. It's going to be 218 to 222, and it's going to be in the grid. He's going to be in the grid often, and he's going to be in the grid early. So I think that's a little over 390, 393. So, again, a good number. But I truly wasn't too concerned about numbers besides a freak ball. Like James Tate went 450 in the final 8 because he just hit a crazy ball. But for me, I just knew if I hit a solid ball each set, I'd probably be good to go. The only thing that scared me was going OB. I knew I was definitely liable for that. So really good speed here from Zack Holton, 223. Again, you can see how good his accuracy is. I mean, these are burning corners, and I can promise you guys, at that distance and that speed, missing the corners like that, that is extremely accurate even still. So I really would like to see a stat long drive come about where maybe if you miss the grid by less than 10, 15 yards, they count that as like a different kind of shot so you can see how many quality shots you're hitting instead of just having OBs and inbounds. Because it's a real thing, guys. Like, if I'm only 5-10 yards OB and I hit it hard, that's going to do a lot more for me than if I'm missing the grid by 60, 70 yards. Like, I know something good's about to happen, and that really is important, to be able to at least be close with your misses. So again, another miss, 227 out in the right, just not turning the face shut. And again, I 228.9, so you guys can see how I'm moving it. Definitely, this is up there with the best I've ever moved it in my career. And just not slamming the door shut on that face. I mean, these balls are humongous. They're just not turning over. And so I'm just trying to kind of gather myself. Been here before. It happens fast, but you just got to accept that it's going to be constantly evolving. And so I'm going to try to turn it over a little more here. Again, another good shot, just 230 on the ball speed, but I know this thing is probably going to creep over OB, and you can see it just bounces left. Again, I 3 good shots as far as I was concerned. The first 2 I hit really hard, just left the face probably 1.5 to 2 degrees open. Third shot, I made an adjustment and missed the grid by a couple yards left, and they were all 227 plus ball speed. So as far as I was concerned, I really wasn't as nearly as concerned as I was after my first 3 against Justin, because my first 3 against Justin were pretty bad, but my first 3 against Zack were good. So I felt like with 3 more to hit, I felt pretty good about my chances, honestly. And, as I said, 393, that was a good ball, but I wasn't super concerned about it for a number. It just scared me that it was a number. So you feel a little pressure in that regard about kind of what's going on. So again, another solid number from Zack. I mean, he's just, if he's missing the grid, he's missing it by a couple yards at most. But that's Zack. Bit of a miss hit here, a little low in the face, 216. It's going to be in the grid, it looks like. But somewhere in the 380s. And I think he's got one more left here. And he can certainly take it over 400, no question. You know, he can certainly be in the 410 to 420 range with a good swing here up the right side. And I think he just pulled this a little left. I mean, it's impressive to watch this guy hit. I mean, he just doesn't – it's every single ball is 215 to 223 ball speed with good ball flight. And when you can do that, you're gonna be the second best in the world. You know, that's just that simple. So, again, 93, not something that really scared me for a number. So, at this point, I was just ready to make a swing, and this was probably my worst swing of the sets right there. That was not a fun shot to see. That kind of spooked me a little bit. So, at this point, I've kind of thought about something in my head. I was like, okay, I think my ball's a little too far up my stance, and so I'm going to push this ball in the back of my stance and make that exact swing and just let the toe release. You can see me kind of making that motion with my hand. What I'm trying to do is just center myself, slow myself down. And when I hit this one, I knew that was probably ball game. 230.8 in the ball speed. You know, just really pumped I hit that shot when I needed to. And it flies right into that hill. So lost a lot of yardage on that. But still enough to get the job done. And that's all I really care about. But had that been on the right side, you're probably looking at 420, 430 plus. Like I did against Justin. So you can see the relief in my eyes there. I definitely didn't want my run to end like that. Going into this day, all I wanted was for my run to not end with an OB set. That's all I was really on my mind. But, yeah, I just was able to settle in, put the ball back in my stance, get that ball to start to the right side of the grid and just turn it right into the center. And you can see it didn't take much time for me to know that that was probably going to be good enough. And just a little more patient, you can see the ball just a little further back in my stance, a little further off my instep. And, yep, felt pretty good about it once I hit it. And it feels good to be cruising at 230 ball speed at, you know, the biggest tournament of the year. And that's what I live for, guys. You know, Game 7, bottom of the ninth, that kind of stuff. And this is it. This is a world championship. You got to be at your best to win it. And, you know, I just love doing that. And it's just a ton of fun. So at this point, you can see I got either James Tate or Shawn Johnson. And I believe Shawn Johnson took it by a couple yards. So that's who I'm going to be facing in the finals. So here we'll cut back to so Shawn Johnson went 405. I went 398. I think Shawn went up the right side, and that's all the difference. Because I think his ball was like 216, 218, and my ball's 230. So just goes to show you. I mean, you know, the grid decides a lot of this. But so, and I remember warming up. They had net return set up to the side of the. If you guys look at the shot right here, if you look to the right where that light pole is, that's where the net returns are set. You can just see them. The range is up top, and it was quite a walk. So what I did, I didn't have time between the semis and the finals to go back up to the range. So I was just hitting in the net return with my track mitt, and my God, guys, I was moving it. I mean, we had the Bridgestone balls, which are a little slower than like the left dash is probably about 4 or 5 miles an hour slower, and I was just pumping it into the net return. I was letting it all rip, letting it all go, because I had fought a little bit of an injury coming in, so I had to be very, economical with my swings, and I was able to skip a couple sets and save some hits in my body, and I'm feeling awesome right now, absolutely amazing. So I'm just finally letting it all go, and I hit about 20 or 30 balls into the net return to stay loose, and I was sitting in the low 230s. I mean, it was ridiculous. I just had so much speed at this point. My body was ready. I just think my brain and my mind were ready for it, and my body was too. And so I know going into this, it's mine to win. Shawn's a tremendous hitter. He was the Rookie of the Year in 2022. You know, great guy. I've hit against him a good bit. And so I know, again, this is not going to be an easy match. I mean, I've had a very tough path. I had to go through Justin James, Zack, Holton, Shawn Johnson. And I promise you, those are three names that carry a ton of weight in long drive, because those are three of the top 8 hitters in the world. So you got it. I knew it was going to be a long road, but that's what makes it worth winning. It's awesome and it's fun because it's tough. So As you guys know, I'm sure by now, I'm letting Sean go first. And as far as I'm concerned, it's me versus me. You know, like, that's really how I felt. I just felt like, you know, Sean's going to hit a great ball. And you can see right there, 220 right off the rip. I know Sean's a great hitter. He's not going to hand me this match. So I know, for me, it's all about just hitting a good ball and staying within myself, not trying to do too much. And that's a tremendous start, 394 right up the gut. And Sean did what he needed to do. He put a ball on me early. He didn't let himself get into a 3v6 match. What I mean by that is if he missed his first 3 balls, I would have been very comfortable and probably would have put up an even bigger number than I did. So he did a great job of getting one in play and a number, too. I mean, 94 was not bad at all. That was kind of right on the number to win sets most of the day. Numbers did drop a little towards the end. I think the wind dropped a little, but yeah, it was certainly a good start. And I think this one's about 216 up the right side. You guys will see the numbers, I think, in a replay in a little bit here. But again, you guys notice that right side; it just gives you more rollout. So yeah, I think this comes back in 97. Very good ball. And you can see Sean likes it, but he definitely knows he's got more. So as far as I'm concerned, that's about what I was expecting. I was expecting Sean to put something up in the mid-90s, maybe even in the 400s. So for me, you know, I'm like, if this is it, you know, it's been 23 or 4 sets to get to this point, 6 long days, a lot of pressure. And as far as I'm concerned, it's the last set, and now it's time to win it. And again, a great start here for me, 228 ball speed, just up the left side. Probably would have been a 405, 410 ball. So I'm happy with the start. It was an OB shot, but it was a quality ball, and that really does matter. As I told you guys earlier, it was a quality ball, and I liked the way it started. So I'm going to go again, and another quality ball. This 229.9 right up the left side again, just fighting a little bit down the left side, and you can see it landed right on the line. That probably would have been another 400, 405. So, you know, I'm honestly feeling very comfortable. I'm not really too concerned at all about my ability to hit the grid. I know I have 4 more swings left, and if I keep making swings like those first 2, one's gonna stay in play. And that's really what the sport is about. You just gotta make good swings, and eventually you'll have one in play if you keep making good swings. And this one was, the camera did follow this one, and it was just one of those, I didn't quite shut the door, but 231 ball speed. God, I would have loved to know how far that ball carried, because that was being pushed by the wind, too. That was probably a 410, 420 carry if I had to guess. No idea of knowing that, just based on how I hit it. So, 3 quality balls, that's how I saw it. And so, I was pretty comfortable. And Sean's got some speed there, 223.6. You know, he's got a good ball in play. So now what Sean's looking for is something in 400 plus. And you guys can see me, I'm just, you know, this place really filled up, by the way, as you guys can see towards the end. But I'm just staying in my element, not worrying about outside variables. I just know you hit the center of the face, good flight, you're taking your 3rd belt home. And that's kind of how I felt, you know, and just that's the way I approached the whole thing. And it was really nice to feel that I had some semblance of control where if I did what I needed to do, I had a very good chance of winning. So what I'm doing here, I'm just going through my routine, and I'm just trying to stay locked in my routine, because I know if I do my routine, I'm going to give myself the best chance of performing under pressure. And that's, you can't see it, but that's what I'm doing off to the side, is literally just doing my routine over and over and over so that it's fresh in my mind, and I don't have to think about it when I step up to the tee. But tremendous set by Sean. It really is extremely impressive. He's a sophomore year to step up in his first championship match and hit 6 really, really hard balls, put out a number, and then basically tell me, now go catch it. You know, he put out a really good number, and he made me work for this, and, you know, he's just a great hitter. So, you know, I hit this ball, and I saw it turning over, but I knew that wind was fighting it back to the left. So I was like, this is going to stay in. There's one hill down there. You can see it. If it landed on the left side, that could have gone OB. So I was just saying bounce straight, and it did. And on that exact hill, 398, and I see it pop up on the board, and I get quick confirmation here, and he tells me I won by more than more than the 6 inches, which is the rule for the margin of victory. And now it's kind of just soaking in. It's a long year, a lot of injuries, a lot of self-doubt, but it all paid off in the end. Had a lot of people helping me. You know, Sean was a tremendous Sean was a tremendous hitter, tremendous person to share this championship match with. And yeah, it was just an incredible feeling. I mean, it really was. And to get a third belt, this will definitely be a term I never forget. And I'm exhausted emotionally. Like, you guys can see it in my face. Just all the pressure, everything I dealt with that week. It was just a very difficult week, but a ton of fun as well. And you can actually see my dialogue here when they show after this replay, how much I'm urging this ball. All I say is bounce straight. Like, this thing is 230 ball speed, and I just didn't want it to land on the side of that hill and kick dead left because then it could have gone OB. So I knew the wind was going to fight it back to center, so I'm like, stay in. Come on, stay in. Bounce straight. Give me a straight bounce. I remember saying those words very clearly, and I was just trying to see that bounce. But, yeah, you can see that's the look of an exhausted person right there. And there's me being interviewed by Bobby Bradley and all that good stuff. And it was just really cool, you know, just really cool to get to experience all of that. And just fast forwarding through some of this stuff here. And there it is, 2019, 2021, and 2023. So the odd years have been good to me over the last over the last half decade or so. But yeah, guys, it was just an incredible experience, incredible to be hoisting that belt again. These are not easy to win. I can promise you guys that. And yeah, it's just an incredible feeling.
Congrats, buddy.
And you know, Martin being the gracious champion he is. Martin was a wonderful champion, and he always will be a wonderful champion. And looking forward to doing battles with him as well. But yeah, it was a ton of fun, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed me breaking this down. We got a lot more exciting content coming up for you guys in the future. Excited to really get it going this winter and give you guys some great stuff to watch. And excited about next year. So if you guys enjoy this video, please be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys next time.
And that third belt, wow. That the crew. Ryan Reese back, the senior champ as well. What a week from Atlanta. Congrats to the champions.